You're welcome to come in and see what we do anytime you like.
All right, guys, thanks for coming out. We got Brian demonstrating he's turning a giant ring for the little village that you brought in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, decent sized piece of wood, but I'll let you go ahead and handle it. We're going to have a quick meeting afterwards and show and tell, obviously. Thank you for, go ahead.
The demo pieces, the deli that are sitting over there, we probably want to go ahead and auction those off today too.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Where the trembler is, there's about 5 or 6 pieces.
All right, I didn't know, do you want to auction it today or do you want to save it for next month when we do that tool thing?
Next month, as long as I don't have to take it home, we can put it in the cabinet out here.
Okay, yeah, why don't we, because next month they're going to auction off all those tools and stuff like that.
I want to do the auction then, but it's all his demo pieces during the 3 days of hands-on and some of the stuff that he did here.
Super cool. All right, without further ado, right?
Okay, you everybody hear me? Yes? No? Yes. Okay, all right.
Pick a card in a card.
Pick 6. Any 6 you want.
Dad jokes are bad.
It's bad joke time.
Oh, is that what this is?
That's what that is. We're going to blame you, Cindy.
Yeah, Cindy is stealing our faith.
All right.
Let's see, 1, 2,
You're on the hot
3,
seat,
4,
so
5.
It'll be good.
6.
Okay. I think I can do this with 6. If it gets too boring, let me know and we'll have her draw some more.
Oh.
So,
I remember.
what I'm demonstrating here is called Reifendrehen. Now, I apologize to anybody who speaks German if I mispronounce that word. It means literally ring turning. And it's a craft that's practiced in and has been for hundreds of years in Germany, mostly in the Black Forest area. And it was originally used as a way to make toys for kids, mostly. It's a quick way to create the shape that the toy makers needed, that they could then separate out into separate pieces and do a little bit of carving and painting on and have all kinds of wonderful toys for kids. And they turn everything, the most complex things you can imagine, lots of animals, giraffes and rhinoceroses and horses and reindeer with antlers that are just incredibly complex. They turn those profiles, they chop them up into pieces, do a little bit of carving to round them out on the outside, dip them in paint. And this used to be a whole family thing. The whole family would be involved. The dad might be the Reifendreher who would do the actual turning. Mom might be one of the ones who was carving. Older sons maybe do that. Younger children would be dipping them in the paint and dotting the eyes on and things like that. And it was a whole family enterprise because that's what it took to make a living. Mostly in Europe, the wood that they use is basswood. And traditionally they will cut this stuff at the right time of year and submerge it into a pond, and they'll keep it underwater until they're ready to cut it. And then the Reifendreher will cut it up into sections and put it onto his lathe and start cutting out rings. So this is a piece of Norfolk Island pine, and I'm going to make a very simple ring turning. It's that village over there. It's a walled village. Those are the first things that I've started with because it's this real simple thing. I happened to see one in the background when I was watching a video about a Reifendreher, and I thought, hey, that's something I can do. Okay, so and I think they're kind of neat, and I think they'd be popular gifts for people at Christmas time, something like that. So, just by the way, I cut this piece, and I was ready to do this demo last month when I was scheduled to, but it got kind of screwed up. So. This piece has been sitting around for a while and started to crack, so I've put some CA glue in here to hold it together. This isn't going to really matter because we're just going to show the preparation for putting it on the lathe, okay, and turning the first ring. So without further ado, I've got my spindle roughing gouge, because this is spindle orientation. And just a word about safety. This is a big thing. It's turning relatively fast. If pieces come off, they come off at fairly high velocity. You should wear eye protection. Face protection, I don't have a face mask with me today, but it's a good idea to put on a face shield. And something to cover your nose and mouth to keep from breathing in dust is always a good idea. First thing we're going to do here, I've got it, let me talk about how it's mounted. This is a large Vicmark chuck with step jaws, and I've spread them out a little bit to get the largest base that I can. But the only thing that's keeping this on here is this live center pushed up against that chuck. Okay? As long as it's not too far out of balance, that's not a problem, as long as you keep good pressure on it. If the wood is really soft, or if it gets too far out of balance, this thing can walk and come off. So it's something you need to be aware of. But it should get better as we go. As we take more wood off, it'll get more and more balanced. And this lathe tends to shake a little bit, so I'm not turning as fast as I might at home, where my lathe is more securely mounted. Spindle roughing gouge, again, this is spindle orientation. The grain is running this direction, and I'm going to start with the tool on my hip.
Are these always made spindle orientation?
Traditionally, they're always made spindle orientation. I have seen some modern ring turners, especially guys from Australia, where they do these really complex pieces that do some inside grain, but they will make the piece segmented piece before they put it on the lathe. So it'll be numerous segments that are laid out in side grain orientation, glued together to make the flat piece before they turn it into the ring. And we're just going to make this piece round. Size-wise, we want it to be as large as we can get it, just because that makes a larger village. And whatever size it turns out to be is what it turns out to be. And again, we're just roughing out this ring, so all we need to do is make sure that it's round and cut all the way around. Not quite there yet. A little bit more. I'm going to move the tool rest a little closer to the work so that I'm not working unsupported. And one thing I'm doing when I adjust this tool rest is I look down on the top of the tool rest and I see how it aligns with the ways of the bed. That allows me to use the tool rest as a guide to make a nice straight cut across here, because I know if it's in line with the ways, then it's perpendicular to the axis of the lathe.
Up over your head for a second here, because
Okay? Well, it's still got close together. Right now I'm just trying to figure out, there you go, that's how deep it's going to have to be to make it all the way around. them. Okay, so now we've got it clean all the way around. We're going to clean up this face, because what I want to do is I want to make it a tenon on this face so that I can hold it in my chuck. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tenon on this face, I'm going to turn it around and hold it in the chuck on this side. And for that, I'm going to use the bowl gouge. Now, if this was side grain,
Yeah, I like, no respect for the electrical equipment over here. It's great.
if this was side grain, I would cut this direction. But being that it's end grain, I'm cutting this direction because if I cut that direction, I'm going to be cutting into the end grain, and that's always a lot more work. Each of these steps in these jaws is about 3/16 to 1/4 of an inch deep. So I don't want my tenon to be any deeper than that. And I want it to be a size that will fit into the chuck. That should work right there. So I'll make that just a little bit deeper. Now I want the intersection between this flat and the angle that my chuck is going to grab to be a nice sharp corner, because I want the corners of my jaws to reach all the way into the wood. I don't want them to sit on a rounded radius, so I'm going to refine that intersection with my favorite tool, spindle gouge. Yeah, this happens to be a Carter and Son spindle gouge, 3/8 spindle gouge. Is that?
There ain't much of that left.
No, there's not, honestly. I have made thousands of tops with this tool. It is one of my favorite tools. And I got a new one, but somehow when I asked for the spindle gouge, they gave me this detail gouge instead, and I don't care for it nearly as much. It's still a nice gouge, and it rolls a nice bead, but it doesn't It doesn't do flats the way I like them. I think that'll work. I think it's time to take a break. Why is sausage bad for you? It brings out the worst in people.
How was it possible that she randomly picked 6 cards and got a German joke?
She's that good.
So we're going to pop this out of here. And put it into and hopefully this fits right up in there. You know what? It's a little too deep. I made it slightly too long, so I'm going to turn it back around and hopefully I'll be able to get it back on there right. Because I really want it to be seated all the way down on the face of those jaws. I don't know if that's going to work because it's not. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Yeah, and I'm going to recut it anyway because it could be smaller in diameter too. So. Yeah. Okay, let's try that again. And just because it's not in the way, I'm going to bring up the tailstock. I'm just going to clean up this face. Yeah, it's pretty dry. And because we're going across the end grain like this, we're getting little powdery chips here instead of flakes or ribbons. This is a, what, 3/8 bowl gouge? Yeah, I think it looks like a sorbet, although it doesn't say sorbet on it anywhere.
That's a sorbet handle.
Yeah. That's a really good copy of a sorbet, who knows. So, this is the point where we're going to start making rings. And because this thing's got some really bad cracks in it here that I didn't quite get filled up with CA glue, we run the risk of this thing separating out into pieces. So I'm going to go really easy here, and I'm also, so we have our outside ring there, we have our guard towers here, so we're going to make the ring that does the houses. So this one needs to be about a little over 1 3/8, so we're going to call it about that wide. We're going to make it wider than that because we're going to clean it up after it's done. This is a box rest, and I haven't tried this before.
When you're doing the actual shape of the piece you're making, do you cut a template and use that?
No, I don't. German,
In the magazine, where
yeah.
I had a horse he was doing.
Yes, and if you were a German ring turner and you were making something that complex, absolutely they have templates that they use to make sure that all their shapes are going to be exactly right. The problem with that is that you have a template for the outside or for the top surface and a template for the bottom surface, and you've got to make sure that those templates are oriented properly this way, or else you're going to have a horse that's got a big butt, okay, or a giant head.
I've seen them make a heart shape out of it too. And then you
Yeah.
cut it up, you got really cool heart.
And that's, yes, as a matter of fact, that's another very easy ring turning to do. Where is it? There it is right there. So, a standard diamond, you see that? A standard diamond parting tool. I like this tool for this because of the curve of my cut that I'm going to be making in the face here, I need clearance at the top and the bottom of the tool, where the middle of it's going in right on center. Okay? So I'm going to start somewhere over here. And again, I'm using the ways of the lathe to orient my tool. And because I'm using this box rest, I don't have to worry about getting the tool pointed up or down. If I'm going up or down, that changes the shape of the cut that I'm making on the inside. Going up will make it cut deeper and deeper as you go in. It'll come this way. Going down will do the same thing, okay? It will make the ring narrower on this side and make a lot more work for you. So, just going to go straight in here. And every now and then I'm going to widen out the cut to provide relief so the tool doesn't get caught in there, and also to get the chips out. It's very hot.
I have gloves in the car if you need them.
No, I'm good. Let's see how far up there I want to go. So I got about another 3/8 of an inch or so to go, so I'm gonna. Okay. Yeah, we're deep enough now.
So you're not cutting all the way through?
I'm not cutting all the way through. Normally I would, but because this piece has got these big cracks in it, I know if I cut all the way through, I run a big risk of this thing snapping into pieces and flying around the room. And I'm not going to cut all the way through from the outside because these cracks go all the way through here, but I'm going to give you a demonstration of what it would be like if we were going to go all the way through. Like I said, I had this piece of wood ready last month, and unfortunately I don't have any more, so I couldn't prepare any more for this meeting. And in the meantime, between last month and this month in my shop, that checked really bad and just did what wood does. So this is something you need to do with fresh green wood. I didn't bring a pencil. Oh well, that's fine. So my house needs to be about that tall. I'm going to make it a little taller. And again, we're just going to plunge the parting tool in. I'm using a thinner parting tool this time because it's just less work. But it doesn't matter, you can do the same one. But again, I'm pretty sure that if I keep going on this, this is going to fly into pieces and it's going to come off in the room, and I don't want that to happen. So.
Thank you, George.
Don't really start that is how I feel.
You just go down there until it parts off, and if with the ring in this configuration, what happens is it just falls down onto the inside, okay, and just sits there normally. It might come off and go over here, okay, but because I got the tailstock there, it's not going to go spinning around the room or anything like that. And the big thing that's always concerned me, I've never had it happen, but it might fall down in here and get caught under the rest of the wood. Never had it happen. With it like this, I'm sure that it won't. Okay, so.
Okay, but if you're cutting off that whole ring, you just keep going through.
And it's going to go this way or this way. Okay, and if it falls down on here, no big deal. When I do that, I generally go really slow at the end, trying to see how I could put that, and maybe come over to this side and just part it off that way so that the tool is pushing it that way rather than this way. But I've never had a problem with it as terms of getting caught on anything or causing anything to happen. So, okay, so let's assume we have our ring. Magic of television. Now we have to put it back on the lathe and make our shape. So traditionally, again, German ring turners use a jam chuck to do this, and that's the way I turn those two villages. I make a jam chuck, which is just a big piece of wood like this, with a notch, with a step cut in it, that your ring is either going to fit inside of or outside of. And when I'm doing these and using that technique, I also put a little bit of hot glue on it, just because I don't want it to come out, and you know. And it's easier than making an exact perfect fit every time. So if I get it to go in there and it's close enough and it's not rattling around, I can put a little hot melt glue on it and it'll stay there. I don't have to be real finicky about exactly fitting it.
There's on the side of the face.
So, I'm sorry, was that a question?
Does the glue go on the face or?
Yeah, it goes, so for example, I'll throw this up here. Now these are Bickmark bowl jaws. And the reason I'm using these is because it's quicker to show this than it is to do a jam chuck. And a lot of American turners get scared by jam chucks, okay? Because they don't have enough experience with them to really trust them. That's why we use technology rather than technique a lot. Because a lot of us are hobbyist turners rather than professional, you know, experts who have years and years of practice. And it's easier to just get something like this and clamp it on than it is to take all the time to fit a jam chuck. But normally, well, traditionally again, let's say I was doing this with a jam chuck, I would put it on here, and let's say I had an outside jam chuck where it had fit into the outside, I'd put the glue out here. Just here, 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 here. 4 or 5 spots, that's all it takes. And when you're done turning, you just cut that last little bit, and it goes away. And if it doesn't, there's only a tiny little spot of it. So, we're going to cut this to be the tall house. So it's about the right height. We need to, it's going to be oriented like this. So we're going to cut this and this side, face off the bottom so it's nice and smooth. And we're going to turn it back around and we're going to make these. And afterward, I take it to the belt sander and I sand these 2 surfaces. Okay? Just quick and easy. You could just leave them, but I think it looks better with the kind of pyramidal roof rather than just what you'd end up with a ridge.
And what part of the world it comes from.
Yeah, and an alternative, which my next project for this, I'm going to make a castle. So I'm going to make crenellated tops on the walls, see how that comes out. Let's see which side do I want to do. Okay, I want that side of it. Remember on the Vic mark, this turns the opposite way you'd think. It turns counterclockwise to tighten and clockwise to loosen. Okay. Now this is marked 600 RPM max. Ooh, nice fan. Are you ready? Have you ever tried to catch fog? I tried yesterday, but I missed. Yeah. And I'm lucky here, these little pieces are just about the height I need. So I can just cut the inside and the outside at one time. I don't have to turn it around and remount it, which normally I would do if I was doing a jam chuck. We're going to start on the outside again with the spindle gouge and just clean up this surface. And it's pretty good. So I'm just going to use a good sharp tool because you're cutting across the end grain of this dry Norfolk Island pine, and it will tear out really badly if you don't have a good sharp tool. Okay, so I saw that Lee brought this nice straight edge, and I want that to be flat across the bottom because I don't want my houses to tilt. Okay, so I want them to stand up straight with my wall, and that looks pretty good. And the finish looks okay, so we're going to go to the outside. Kind of expected that. That's why you'll always turn it by hand before you turn the power on. You know what, just to be sure, yeah, there's one that's really loose. Probably what I hit.
The one sticking out.
Yeah, the one bolt that wasn't tight. These have little metal collars inside them, so you can't over tighten them unless you actually strip the threads out. But yeah, there we go. Okay. Because these cuts are made straight into the end grain and but straight along the length of the wood, it doesn't matter which way I go, this way or this way. If I was tapering it, I would want to go from the high part to the low part. But because they're going to be straight across, I'm going to go straight in here. Oh yeah, thank you. Yes.
You did that first plunge cut on that. Is that just to define that roof line and minimize tear out as you were going in up that way, or?
Yes, exactly. That's the purpose for making that cut on this side was so that I would know how far I was going with my cut. So we're right there. And we want to go till we have a base that's that thick, so we need to go.
Oh, so the inside portion is basically done?
No, the inside portion, we still need to do the same thing on the inside on this house, okay? Because we got to have both overhangs on both sides, okay?
Is there an overhang on that roof?
Yes, they're passing one around, you'll see it when it's there. I'm doing the easy part first. The outside's the easy part because you don't have to lean over like this to do it. Also, it defines the depth so that when I do the inside, I'm going to match it. And there's no magic dimensions to this. No perfect size. It's just dictated by how big the piece of wood is. And I'm looking up here. I'm watching up here because I want to see, I want to have a nice flat surface. I don't want to have it wavy. And I can tell up there where my tool is down here. On the outside you can do that. On the inside it's a little trickier. Yes,
You're taking real light cut.
I am, because I want a good finish. And I don't have a lot of wood to take off. So this is where you might want to sand, okay? So we're going to switch to the inside. I think we've got about enough of an overhang there. Yeah, we could go a little deeper. Yeah, let's go a little deeper. If you're doing this on wet wood, of course, it's a lot easier to get a good finish. That's right in my eyes. Thank you. If you want to bring it around the backside, maybe, so you can see the tool better.
I was trying to get you shot on the inside.
That's better. Okay.
The depth of cut that you're doing the same as the overhang on the house.
Yeah, the depth of this cut here eventually is going to be the same as the overhang on the house when it's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the roof line from here so that I got that
And I
amount.
know you're matching, but it's about 1/4 of an inch, right?
It's about 1/4 of an inch, yeah. I think I'm maybe a little less than that, but it really, again, it's not a critical thing. So we're going to come around to the inside now and do the same thing. Of course, it's a little trickier on the inside. But the good news is we don't have those pieces to get in the way. I need that pen. Thank you. Now we're gonna, prevent wood turner's elbow. See.
What tool are you using?
Still using that spindle gouge. It's a 3/8, that's what they call it. 3/8 inch Carter and Sons spindle gouge. And you'll notice that I have laid my arm over the top of the tool. Because I don't have my hip here, I could probably stand on that side of the lathe to do this, but then I'd be in the way of the cameras. Because I'm not standing there with my hip or body to stabilize the end of the handle, I'm using my arm to do the same thing. I don't know if you noticed, but I just did a pull cut from the inside. I can go both ways on this piece because, again, it's in spindle orientation and I made like a straight line across it.
And you new people, these wonderful machines they have features that if you don't take advantage of, it can hinder you. Like, if you didn't have all this stuff, you take that off, you slide this all the way down here, your piece is here, and then you're standing right here on the end.
Yeah.
Instead of cocked over like that. So much easier.
Yeah, at home.
Powermatic in my studio, and people would come and they just would take the tailstock off and slide it down so they could stand there on the end instead of over like this.
And honestly, I'm guilty of that right here because at home I work on a one-way that's got a short bed, so I can basically stand right here at the end of it, and I forgot about that feature on this Powermatic. Thank you, Lee.
I have a pool.
Did I put that back? Thank you. I no longer have the ways of the bed to look at because I can't see them from in here. But if I take my straight edge and I lay it on the surface and compare that to the ways of the bed, I can see that actually I'm slightly deeper on the inside here than I am on the outside. So I'm going to take a little more wood off on my next pass from the outside rather than the inside. Now this piece of wood, not surprisingly, prefers to be cut from the inside to the outside with the tool on the very sharp edge here rather than pushing straight into the end grain with the point. Makes sense. So I'm going to use that orientation to make my finishing cuts on the inside so that I don't have to do a lot of sanding here. I still got a little bit to go. It's not quite as deep on the inside as it is on the outside, but it's getting close. So I want to one more time check, see how straight my wall is. That's looking pretty darn good.
Did we craft that other ring around?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's sitting on top of it?
That's the outside wall piece, yeah. And basically there are 4 pieces. Did you pass one of these houses around?
The tall one, no, we didn't do the houses.
Okay, all right, so. And they're all pretty simple shapes. I mean, the reason I chose this as my introduction to ring turning is because the shapes are so simple. I can't imagine myself. My other ring turning experience has been I turned a fork, okay? I made the grooves and made the tines of the fork in end grain, and then cut it off and made a handle on it. So I made a whole bunch of forks. And that was, trying to get that all the same was pretty tough. So I can't imagine how good these guys are that turn these reindeer antlers. I literally turn this shape, it's got maybe 6 or 8 points sticking up this way, and then is hollowed out on the underside.
Couple decades of
Yeah. They turn giraffes, they turn all kinds of things. It's just amazing what they do. And each family, I guess, specialized in a particular type of, one would do farm animals, and another one would do zoo animals, and another one would do something else. It's just, it's a very, very traditional craft in Germany, one that's, they have museums, and there are places like Colonial Williamsburg, only they're woodcrafters. And not just ring turning, they do other kinds of things like the Christmas trees with the curly wooden branches. That, yeah, just the people are just amazing. Actually, the last cut there is it's a shear cut. The tool is actually rolled up on its side, tilted down, and I'm actually slicing with this edge of the can you, am I in the right place here? Slicing with this part of the gouge right here. So it makes a nice smooth finish on that.